far behind?
Well, I mean, you definitely have fallen behind, but at too far, I don't know how much you're willing to work at it.
Um,
It's not that bad. And you have like basic reading skills. They make a big thing about it because nobody else can count. But you know, there's a here.
hey, we need help.
We do need more men. We need more men. I'm like a little nervous because it is just too tight. There's not enough.
So when I went off, I stopped tuning in. So I haven't been tuning in on what is the piece of music and what's.
Well, you have to learn. I think you got, which is this new piece that, which is
challenging but doable.
totally doable.
And
Here, I can
gorgeous.
show it
You're
to
gonna
you.
love it.
I had a stack of them, but I took it home. So, okay, so you guys see these. It's really not quick. See, I have other ones so people can count. And you're holding one note for one word for a long time. But so baritones.
Yeah, I mean, I just need a feminine on ballerina.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get too attached to the recording, which is like the computer man.
Yeah.
So, which you're not careful.
Yeah.
You
So
might imitate him.
I need to go back and when are you meeting when and all that stuff. I haven't laid all that out.
I have. Gosh, I wish I had brought this up with me. I just didn't bring it all. The schedule is basically we're meeting Wednesdays here at Temple, and Thursday is the choir. This choir had been tuning in on Wednesdays for the first part, but they're not. Some of them are doing it now, and some of them are not.
Okay.
So it's kind of basically there's Wednesday night rehearsals here.
Yes.
Thursday night rehearsals at church. You can come on Zoom if you want to. The church rehearsal, and basically we spend about the first hour on this, and then the second hour on whatever else we're doing. And then you have all the recordings, which are already made, and your computer man, it's okay. Just don't make your vowels like computer man, because his vowels are weird. Okay, yeah. So anyways.
Right, that's about the question.
Yeah. So you haven't gotten out of it yet. Let's just say that. Okay, this is great. It's so lovely.
Yai baba na 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 ya na di di da da hi di di da na 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 ya na na di di da yai ba da na 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 ya na di di da hi di da da na 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 ya na di di da yai da 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 di di da
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is wonderful to welcome you here to Temple Shir Tikva, to be with us to celebrate Shabbat. Whether you're in the sanctuary or watching at home, we are thrilled that you've chosen to begin this day of praise with us. Plays are out. Times are out. Time has this tendency to just run by. Suddenly we're getting ready for the next holiday. And yet Shabbat comes as a weekly holiday and a weekly reminder to find that opportunity to pause, to slow down, and even to stop. And so as we enter into this sacred space, we take a moment to really pause ourselves, to even slow our breathing with a neshima amuka, a deep breath. So we inhale and exhale. One more time, breathing in this moment and exhaling the week that has gone, as we turn in our Siddurim to page 24 to welcome the Shabbat angels with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni Leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Seitchem Leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn back in our Siddurim to page 2 and 3 as we come to the lighting of the Shabbat candles. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch
Shabbat is a day for welcoming guests in, and so we began by welcoming the Shabbat angels, and now we turn in our Siddur to page 2021, as with the words of L'chadodi, we have a chance to welcome the Shabbat bride. And we'll sing together the first, second, fifth, eighth, and ninth verses of this song. And when we get to the ninth verse, we imagine that the bride herself is entering. We rise as a community, face towards the door, to greet the Shabbat bride. L'chadodi begins on page 20.
L'chadodi likrat kala, ay ba 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 ba, ay bye bye, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, ay ba 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 ba, ay bye oh shamo v'zachor b'dibor echad, hishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litina, l'chadodi likrat kala, yai ba 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 ba, yai bye bye, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, ay ba 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 ba, yai bye oh likrat Shabbat, l'chul v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof mahaseh b'machshavat tehila, l'chadodi likrat kala, yai ba 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 ba, yai bye bye, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, ay ba 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 ba, yai bye oh hitoreri, ki v'orach uri shir tameri, kivod Adonai alayk nikna, l'chadodi likrat kala, yai ba 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 ba, yai bye bye, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, ay ba 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 ba, yai bye oh yamin u'smol tifrotzi, ve'et Adonai taritzi, al yad ish ben partzi, v'nismecha v'nagila, l'chadodi likrat kala, yai ba 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 ba, yai bye bye, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, yai ba 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 ba, yai bye oh boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'bsola, tuchem unei am segula, boi chala, l'chadodi likrat kala, yai ba 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 ba, yai bye bye, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, yai bye bye, yai bye bye, yai bye bye. We turn the page, and 11 lines down we find Ma Gadlu Ma'asacha Ya, and we sing Hallelujah. 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 Ma Gadlu Ma'asacha Ya.
Having welcomed the Shabbat bride, we take a moment now to welcome one another. If you're in the sanctuary, you can wave to someone, wish someone a Shabbat Shalom, introduce yourself, get to know one another. If you're at home with people, you can give the people in your space a hug or a Shabbat wave. And if you wish you were with someone, you can always send them a text to wish them a Shabbat Shalom, wherever they may be. We say Shabbat Shalom to those watching in
Shabbat
London,
Shalom.
New York,
Hi, Mom.
Florida, wherever else you might be, Texas, all over the place. We know there are people watching. So we're thrilled you're joining us and wishing each other a Shabbat Shalom. So as we ask everyone to take a seat, as we turn to page 26, from this point forward, we'll be treating each double page spread as a single page, reading or singing something from the right or left-hand side before turning over the page. The Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'elmad yivrach edutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayeichon u'v'yomeichon u'v'chayei kol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'v'zman kariv v'himru. Amen. Yesh me Rabba mevarach, le'olam olam me'amayha, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaser, v'yitadar, v'yitalei, v'yitalal, shemedi kedusha brichu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran me'alma v'himeru. Amen.
We rise in body or in spirit, facing towards the ark and towards the east for the Baruch Hu, our call to prayer. You'll please be seated. We continue together at the bottom of page 31. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari Varavim.
On page 32, Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadata, al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה.
ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On the bottom of page 39, we'll read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Nor
As we turn to page 42 in the Hashkivenu, it's our prayer for the evening, which at this time of year seems a little counterintuitive as we look out the window and see it's still bright outside. But in the last few weeks, we've talked about Hashkivenu in the context of that shelter of peace on a large scale, the idea of shelters of peace over countries, if you will. But there's another way to view this prayer on the very intimate and personal level. When it says that God will be there when we lie down and rise up, spreading a shelter of peace over us, one can almost imagine there's an image of God tucking us into bed at night. God being with us at that final moment of the day as we settle our heads on the pillow and prepare to sleep. And just think how different our approach to the night would be, thinking that God is there beside us as a source of comfort, as the one tucking us in. The Hashkivenu works on that level too. It imagines for us that God is really with us in the immediate moment, supporting us as darkness falls, tucking us in, and helping us in the nighttime. We join together with this prayer on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim
Baruch atah Adonai haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We turn to page 46. We rise in body or in spirit, facing towards the east for the Amidah, our standing prayer.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agiti latecha Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei HaKol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, Liman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mekayim Timata, brav lehoshia, mashiv haruach, morid hagashem, mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechayei meitim, berachamim rabim, somech noflim, berofech holim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha al gevurot, umido melach, melech meimit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman hatale hakayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hameitim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selha. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We continue silently with our own private prayers, using the words of our hearts or the words of the Siddur through until page 62. Please be seated at the conclusion of your prayers.
The Hebrew to Gesher Tzar Me'od is found on page 339. The most important thing is on the other side. The most important thing is on the other side. The most important thing is on the other side of fear. Kol haolam kulo, kol haolam kulo, Gesher Tzar Me'od. thing is on the other side. The most important thing is on the other side of fear. Kol ha'olam kulo, kol ha'olam kulo, geshet zar, geshet zar me'od, v'haikol, lo lefachet klal, v'haikol, lo lefachet klal.
As we turn to page 253, we know that while Shabbat is a day of joy and celebration, there are those amongst us who are suffering, those in need of healing of the mind, body, soul, or spirit. And so we take a moment to offer a Misha Berach prayer, a prayer for healing for all of them. This Shabbat we think especially of Abba Noach ben Yehudit, Eliza Dorfman, Avivia Sigalit bat Devora, Barb Scaglione, Barbara Lanzet, Barbara Ziman, Dalia Harel, David Feldman, Dee Lurie, Diane McCaslin, Dina Lutin, Devora bat Bunye, Eleanor Lustig, Emma Held, Ethan Kadish, Eva Jacob, Gemma Rose Nicoletti, Georgia Elizabeth Hummel, Golda bat Udi, Harav Nechama bat Yaakov Vernice, James Nicoletti, Jeremy Pivor, Jerry Rosenstein, Jim Solomon, Joan Friedman bat Cynthia, Joyce Pastor, Julian Arce, Julie Elizabeth, Kelly Lane, Leah bat Fagler, Lily Stander, Lisa Shapiro, Lynn Bauer, Mark Lampert, Meir Abba ben Ruven, Michael Kay, Miles Lopez, Moshe Yoel ben Esteva Avraham, Mordechai ben Moshe, Motta Lieb, Nachum ben Razel, Natana Eliora, Yitzchaka bat Shoshana Gila, Nechama bat Trainer Raziel, Noah Eyal mi Beit Yaakov Sarah, Noli Platt, Pam Ross, Pazia bat Leah, Peter Gross, Pinchas Aaron ben Shalom Mordechai Vasara Leah, Richard Kirstein, Robert Friedman, Ramildo Siqueiro, Ron Abramson, Sam Goldenberg, Sarah Fager bat Malka, Sarit Liat bat Panina Sarah, Saul Munvis, Stanley Sakowitz, Stephen Rose, Susan Hoyer, Susan Scheller, Tara Sagor, Theodore Merkin, Tyson Batinus, Wendy Gully, Yaakov ben Sarah Leah, Yaakov Yosef ben Avraham, John Neumeier, Yitzchak David ben Sarah Leah, Golda Sarah bat Clonimus Kalman Halevi Vahanat Cyril, Yosef ben Gittel, Jody Sandler, and Daniel Nanizevsky. If there are others that you're thinking of, please share their names as I look around the sanctuary.
Lena Mayo, Gabriel ben Chania.
Together we offer this prayer of healing.
Mi sheberach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarach et hacholim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yamalei rachamim alehem, lecha chalimam urapotam ulecha chazikam, v'yishlach lahem mehira refuah shlema min hashamayim, refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf, hashta bagalau v'zman kariv, v'nomar Amen.
I love being the rabbi of Temple Shir Tikva. Almost every day I enjoy coming into work and look forward to what the day will bring. As my father likes to say, I am a square peg in a square hole. But if I'm honest, this isn't my dream job. I still dream about playing professional soccer for Liverpool in the English Premier League. I know that the chances of that are somewhere between slim and non-existent at my age of life, and that's being generous. My limitations on the soccer field meant that my dream job was never really a reality. But if the Fenway Sports Group ever feel that Liverpool would benefit from some rabbinic support, I'd be happy to offer my services. I'm sure I'm not the only one who fantasized at certain points about what a career in sports might have looked like. Maybe you dreamed about being the next Tom Brady, Serena Williams, or David Ortiz. From the outside looking in, the life of a sports person looks immensely attractive. Get paid to play the game you love. Have the adulation of your fans and travel the world playing a game. Of course, we ignore the immense amounts of pressure that goes into achieving sporting success. We don't think about the countless hours of exercise and practice just to be able to compete. We rarely consider the mental toil that sports bring. At the Summer Olympics, we were reminded of the fact that professional sports are not just physically grueling, but they can also be mentally exhausting. The story of Simone Biles made international headlines as she stepped back from the Olympics due to mental health concerns. As one of her Instagram followers, I have been delighted to see so many pictures of her smiling and living what appears to be her best life ever since. The subject once again came to the fore this week as I watched Ohio State University offensive lineman Harry Miller appear on the Today Show, talking about his medical retirement due to mental health concerns. If you haven't watched the clip, then I will be sharing it on the synagogue Facebook page after services. To hear this young man speak about his struggles is simultaneously painful and inspiring, but it is necessary viewing. From the outside looking in, we might assume that Harry Miller had it all. He was the valedictorian of his high school and was recruited to the Ohio State University on a football scholarship as one of the nation's top players at his position. At college, he maintained a 4.0 grade point average as a mechanical engineering major, and until this past season, was a mainstay of the football team. And alongside this, he volunteers in Ohio and has made missions to Nicaragua to build homes for families in need. This was the outside world. This was what the outside world saw of Harry Miller. But on the inside, he was hurting. At the age of 8, he told his mother that he wanted to take his own life. And as he shared in that interview, he recognizes now that he has always been anxious and depressed. While he might have found ways to cope while at high school, the pressures and expectations of being a college athlete were simply too much. The crucial moment for Harry was when he approached his coach Ryan Day at the start of this past year's football season and told him of his intention to kill himself. Coach Day immediately sprang into action and connected him with the college's psychology staff to provide him with the support that he so desperately needed. Harry Miller and his parents credit Coach Day with saving his life because of the way that he responded to the cry for help and the structures he had already put in place to support the mental well-being of his student athletes. In his retirement letter, Harry Miller talks about the physical scars that he hid, the ways that he readied himself to die. As he writes, "And I saw how easy it was for people to dismiss others by talking about how they were just a dumb college kid who didn't know anything. But luckily, I am a student in the College of Engineering, and I have a 4.0 and whatever accolades you might require. So maybe if somebody's hurt can be taken serious for once, it can be mine. And maybe I can vouch for all the other people who hurt but are not taken seriously, because for some reason, pain must have prerequisites." I am inspired by these words of Harry Miller, which is why I'm sharing them with you this evening. But more than that, I feel called to action by his words. We know that there is a mental health crisis in this country, and we know that our young people are facing pressures like never before. And we also know that mental health and well-being still do not receive the attention that they deserve, with a lack of funding for the support that is truly necessary. as a first step, Harry Miller had Coach Ryan Day to reach out to. And so today, I want to say to each and every one of you, but especially to our young people, I, Cantor Hollis, Rabbi Geordie, Allison, Jenna, and all of our staff at Temple Shir Tikva are here to be your coach, to be the person that you can talk to. If you need someone to listen, send me a text message, pick up the phone, or send one of us an email. We will be there to hear you and support you in whatever way we can. It is so clear that the first step is admitting and verbalizing that there is a problem. But a prerequisite to taking that step is having someone who will listen and hear you. We will be those people if and when you need us. That is a commitment that I make to you on behalf of us all. So often we focus on what we can do for others, how we can help make life better for the people who are suffering, but we fail to take proper care of ourselves. As we read the book of Vayikra, Leviticus at this time, at the very heart of this book, and therefore by extension, at the heart of the Torah, is the commandment, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. We have done this passage a disservice because for too long we have focused on its external function, the need to love our neighbor. And while this is worthy and important of focus, I would argue that it is the secondary element of what is being commanded. Because to truly love your neighbor as yourself, it requires as a first step a love of oneself. That is the heart and soul of this commandment. It begins with the way that we view and treat ourselves. Only then can this instruction be extended to others. Love of oneself, care for oneself, investment in oneself is a Jewish value and commandment. In reflecting on the actions of Coach Day and the program he has built at Ohio State University, I was struck by the parallels he drew between students needing support if they tear their ACL or sprain their ankles and the support they need when the struggle is mental. Just as he needs people to help the players physically, he also needs people to help the players mentally. The changes that they have made at Ohio State with treatments for mental and physical pain are ones that we could and should make across all areas of society. We need to ensure that mental health care is as readily available as physical health care. And we need to remove the stigma so that people are as comfortable talking about their mental pain as they are their physical pain. To help support our community, the members of our mental health initiative have put together a mental health resource guide, which is available in the sanctuary and online. This guide offers a selection of resources to help members of our community to access the care and support that they may need. It's so vitally important. In this week's Torah portion of Shmini, we read about the death of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu. They brought strange fire to the altar in the tabernacle, and as a result, they were consumed by fire. There have been countless interpretations of this passage by generations of Torah scholars. But this week, this year, as I read the passage, I wondered about the way in which our children, who burn with the fire of mental anguish, are all too often consumed by it. And in the Torah, there is a reluctance to mourn, uncertainty about how to process the death of these young men. And so of their father Aaron we read, Vayidom Aaron. Aaron was silent. All too often, we are silent in the face of mental anguish and despair, in the face of lives lost too soon, in the tragedy that is the mental health crisis which our country is facing. We will not follow Aaron's example. We will not be silent. We cannot hold our tongues as we witness what is happening. And so, we will be inspired by Harry Miller as he said on the Today program, I just kept thinking, if only somebody would just say something. And I'm just really grateful that I was able to have received the care and love and affection that I did so that I could. Following his lead, we must speak out. So I say it again. If you are suffering, if you're in need of help and support, please, please, please reach out to one of the clergy or one of the team here at Temple Shir Tikva. We are here to listen. We are here to help. We are here to support one another as a community. As society faces a mental health crisis, we must remove the stigma, encourage the conversation, and ensure that everyone is seen and heard. Shabbat Shalom. Turn to page 282. We rise in body or in spirit for the words of Aleinu.
Yesher Koach, Rabbi. Aldeinu l'shabeach l'hadon hakol, l'teit gedula leyotzei breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kaham, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא לתקן עולם במלכות שדי ונאמר נהיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ Bayom hahu, Adonai echad, Ushemo echad.
As we turn to page 294 in our Siddurim, we never conclude a service without sacred memory, remembering our loved ones who are no longer with us. This Shabbat, we remember the art sites of Mary Babcock, Nat Behrens, Cynthia Ehrlich, Annie Green, Bertha Napoleon Katz, Beatrice Sobel Meltzer, Rowena Platt, Melvin Allen Schulman, John William Shackleton, Weena Silverman Sonis, Arthur Wayne, and Dr. David Zeff. And during the month of Shoshim, we remember Hermine Mimi Burrows, mother of Wendy Price, Eli Lerner, the father of Abraham Lerner, Eleanor Lesser, the mother of Stephen Lesser, and Dahlia Nomi Fine Flaggett, the daughter of Robert Flaggett and Jessica Fine, and the sister of Jojo and Theo Flaggett. If there are other names that you're remembering, please share them now as I look around the sanctuary. For all those we name out loud and for those we name in our hearts, we join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechonu v'yamechonu v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'galau v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mavarach la'alam ol mei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitalei v'yitalal shmei dukutsha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be for a blessing, and let us say amen. If you'll please be seated. There's a lot going on around Temple Shir Tikva at the moment. You can join our Adult Community Engagement Committee tomorrow night for an evening with TST's own Alan Dines as he shares stories from his time photographing some of the biggest names in entertainment and sports. And there are other fun opportunities, including a new social group for women, a paint night in April. All the details are in the newsletter. our popular series, Sharing Our Favorite Biblical Characters, has one more class this coming Thursday. The TST Book and Film Group are hosting a discussion about a book about the Netanyahus on Tuesday. And you can help our fourth graders who are collecting personal hygiene products for Hope and Comfort by bringing donations to the temple starting from April 3rd. Not yet. You can buy them now, keep them at home for a little bit. April 3rd onwards, we would love to collect those donations for Hope and Comfort. We say thank you to Susan DeSelms for adding her beautiful music to our service, to John Legg for ensuring that we're seen and heard during this service, as we turn to page 5 and join together for the words of Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, urei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehillah lemikrai kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'chalta ve'otanu kidashta mikol abim, b'shabbat kodshecha be'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Chaim. Symbolic challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.